Hey guys, Verlisify here, and today we are making a Pokemon team battle strategy formulation guide. How does that work? It works by pretty much making the team how you want it. A lot of people will tell you you have to use X Pokemon at least to have a good team, or you have to choose from the overused list if you want a really competitive team. And other than that, you have to have a rapid spinner, you have to have entry hazards, you have to have all sorts of shenanigans that make your team perfectly well-rounded. You can't be weak to too many things. I just say whatever to all that. I build the team how I want it, and it usually pays off for me. As long as there's some form of synergy that can make up for your weaknesses, I wouldn't worry about weaknesses in general. Sure, you'll lose sometimes, but you can't win 100% of the battles. It's just physically impossible. There's someone out there that can stop your team without any effort. So, let's take a look at my team first, and I'll kind of show you guys how I made my team so you can make one for yourself. I have Avalugg, Trevenant, Klefki, Charizard Y, Talonflame, Snorlax. So, how I build my team is generally always around Snorlax. Snorlax is my strongest, most favorite Pokemon for battling. He is my MVP. He has won me more games than I can count. He has beaten people 6v1 before. I think that's happened multiple times too. I've gotten a 5 sweep and then he just sets up and wins. He is my hero. So a lot of my team, I usually start with Snorlax. I also recommend starting with at least 3 Pokemon that you have to have on your team. That way you don't feel like you sold out to make your team as strong as possible. And if they're really your favorite Pokemon or Pokemon you want to see on your team, then you can't feel bad, and you can only feel confident that even if you lose, you lost with the Pokemon that you loved and you know they're strong. So Snorlax, Klefki, and Charizard are my main 3. After that, I try to come up with pairs for each of them. You know, Snorlax pairs really well with Klefki. Even though they're the same pair, they still pair with each other really well, because Klefki gives Snorlax extra defenses to set up. Charizard and Talonflame set up really well, because Talonflame gets Tailwind, Charizard goes and uses Protect, and then after that I can sweep from there with a priority Brave Bird, and that's pretty awesome when you get a priority Brave Bird. Talonflame also works well with Snorlax, because that priority Brave Bird takes out his fighting threats really easily. Avalugg and Trevenant have synergy together, as well as Trevenant and Charizard, because Charizard brings in Sunlight with Drought, so then Trevenant's Harvest becomes 100% for a couple turns. My team, on paper, looks bad, though. I have 3 weaknesses to Fire, all these weaknesses to Rock, or more weaknesses to Rock, Fighting, and my move coverage is I have Fire, Dark, and Grass, and Flying, and I think those are the only things in my move pool right now. So, on paper, I just have... Oh, and Ice. But on paper, it just looks so bad. But I decided to make it work for me. I also adapt to what is strong against me. If you guys are having a problem with a Pokemon, then change your team to adapt to that Pokemon to get stronger for it, or take it on your team because it's a really strong Pokemon. That ended up happening with Charizard Y. My Keyblade combo was generally getting stomped out by a Charizard that... Here's how it would go. Klefki sets up Light Screen, Aegislash goes Swords Dance. They both survive. I have to paralyze Charizard, but Aegislash is stuck to have to Shadow Claw Charizard. If Charizard goes down, I would win the battle. If Charizard doesn't go down, he would double Heat Wave me, and I get swept by a Charizard. So I decided that instead of leaving myself vulnerable to Charizard, I'm taking him on my team. And then I started building around him as well. So I mean, all my Pokemon work together really well. I can pretty much take any 4 of these into a double battle with any open, and it'll be really good. You just have to outsmart your opponent, but that's a different episode about... I'm going to call it dynamic battling. But until then, this is just team setup. So, I mean, take the Pokemon you want on your team. A lot of my strategy guides take the sleeper Pokemon, the Pokemon that no one's going to use, and make them brutally overpowered. No one saw Snorlax Dunsparce going undefeated at regionals, except for me. So, I mean, it's things like that. If someone's called your Pokemon too underpowered, either wait for me to come out with a strategy guide, which could be a long time, or look into it for yourself. If you want to really use an underused Pokemon, I can't come up with one off the top of my head. I know Garbodor, he actually has some use because of Stockpile. But, I mean, if you want your Pokemon to work, make him work. Look at every in and out. In double battles, you have the ability to do this. You can look and be like, okay, this Pokemon actually works well with this ability. Who has this ability? Oh, he does. I've been looking into Friend Guard, because Friend Guard reduces damage by 25%. If you have a weak defensive Pokemon that's really strong offensively, put him next to a Friend Guard Pokemon that can support him, and all of a sudden he gets stronger. And you don't have to worry about having a weak Friend Guard Pokemon because your other Pokemon is so strong now, it kind of doesn't matter. Like, if you put Vivillon next to a Snorlax or something, or a Pokemon that isn't as strong as you'd want him to be. Vivillon is kind of weak on his own, but if you make that other Pokemon strong enough, it doesn't matter because they help each other. So I mean, it's just things like that. So I also want to bring up Avalugg for a moment because a lot of things you also have to counter what's popular. Popular right now is Aerodactyl, Mega Aerodactyl, Garchomp, and Tyranitar. This guy stops all of them. Because he is such a defensive tank, all he has to do is turn around one Avalanche on them, and they're gone. With the exception of Tyranitar, which you might need to use one Curse, but I pretty much go Curse, Avalanche, Recover, and he counters all those physical brutes. This guy's for the physical brutes. Avalanche can't like cover too well, that I just need to throw Will-O-Wisp down to calm down if I don't have Avalugg available. Klefki, he just sets up for the whole team. Klefki is the best support in the game, in my opinion, just because he does dual screens, foul play, and Thunder Wave. He can take out someone that's charging up, like say Garchomp goes Swords Dance. Foul play now takes out that Garchomp, on top of your Light Screen Reflect covering you and Thunder Waving the other Pokemon. He's really good. So I mean, I think that's the biggest thing I just have to say. Don't let anything stop your team. Make it work. Because I make my teams work, and on paper they shouldn't. You just try to come up with fun strategies, or wait for my videos to have fun strategies, because my whole team works really well together. Rock, these guys are weak against Rock. This guy counters main Rock leads. He is just an overall cover. Snorlax is a hero. Klefki is an overall cover again. I hope this video helped. I don't want to talk too long. I want to try to get as much information as soon as possible so a lot of people at least hear a bit of it. So I hope this helped. I'm going to do dynamic battling next. Prepare for some Wi-Fi battles. It might be a couple days before I do another Pokemon, because I want to get a lot of strategy down, and then start working Pokemon so you can understand it better. Hopefully that works for me. And most importantly, just like this video, comment, subscribe, and have a nice day.